Political allegory, we've talked about that. You need to mention that in the essay. It should be mentioned in the intro, and you should mention it specifically in one of the body paragraphs where it's applicable. It grounds the play in an historically pertinent example of collective hysteria. There's a nice phrase there, because by relating it back to the late 17th century New England, right? New England was the territory, or Salem, right? By relating it back to that, we can see the cyclicality of the human experience. You should add that in. Because it's a political allegory, there's a cyclicality to the human experience of hysteria. Do we agree? If it happened back in the 1600s, it's happened in the 1950s, it's probably happening right now. COVID world, right? You wouldn't be able to say that for the whole duration of COVID that there hasn't been hysteria. What's a good practical example of hysteria, just day to day? What's something people do when they announce a lockdown? Panic buying. It's irrational because if everyone just shops as they can, it's stupid, right? I get why people are doing it, but you've got to think there's actually an irrationality there. So there's a great contemporary example of panic buying that relates to how easy it is for people to become hysteric in times of fear. Aren't we living through one of those moments right now? Where in a pandemic, that's going to cause fear, and then that actually renders us somewhat vulnerable. That does render us vulnerable to the will of the government. Aren't we really dependent on the government? Do you see the dependence of everyone? Like everyone's watching every news update. So it's kind of like, hey, as long as we stay like aware of what's happening and make sure we're not exploited, then it's all good. But it's very easy to lose your sense of reason and rationality in these times of fear. So 1690s Salem, 1950s America with communism, and now with COVID, okay? So 3 different points in history. So there's a cyclicality to the experience of hysteria. Okay, good point you can make.